as musicians, we spend a lot of time in the practice room, right? We're learning new songs, we're practicing technique, we're practicing our craft, but we're never actually going to perform in the practice room, right? You're going to perform in front of people, and that comes with a whole extra layer of learning how to actually perform a piece well so that it is enjoyable for your audience to listen to. That is what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. I'm going to give you some of my top tips to help you get better at actually learning to perform, not just play, but perform. And so before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button down below and stick with me to the end of this video so that you don't miss any of these important tips. This past week, I have been doing master classes with some of my students. If you don't know what a masterclass is, basically a masterclass is where the student will come and perform their piece in front of an audience, and then the instructors will instruct that student in front of everybody, work with that student on their piece for a little bit, kind of like a lesson but in a public setting. It's a really great place for you as a student to learn how to perform, to work on playing in front of other people, to receive feedback, and just get used to being on stage in front of an audience, because that's something that's really scary for a lot of musicians and not something that we end up practicing a lot. But it's something that is super, super important, because let's be real, no audience wants to sit and listen to you play a song, play all of the notes correctly, but if there's no emotion behind it, if there's no musicality behind it, they're probably not going to want to sit and listen to you play for 5 minutes. And so as musicians, it's so important that we learn not only to play a piece well, because we do want to play it well, we do want to execute it well, but we also want to make sure that our audience connects with it and that we are engaging them as we're playing. So since I was already thinking about that this week, working with students with that, I thought I would just share some of the top tips that I've been talking about this week. So the first thing that I want to talk about is moving to the music, because, and I am guilty of this, I've not always been great at this, but if you are, whether it's violin, whether it's guitar, whether it's a mandolin, this applies really to any instrument. If you are just standing and you're playing your song, but you're not really moving to the music, you're not getting your body involved, it's kind of boring. It's kind of boring. And I know most of the time we are focusing so hard on what we're trying to play. We're trying to execute it well. We're trying to get the notes right. We're trying to get the shifts right. We're trying to make it clear. All of those things are important, but we have to go that extra mile of thinking, okay, how can I move my body to this music in a way that is natural, in a way that makes sense, and in a way that will make my audience feel at ease and feel entertained by watching me play this song. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. A lot of the time, I'll just take mandolin because that's what I am on a large majority of the time. With mandolin, whether you're sitting down or standing up, you don't have just a huge range of motion, but what we can do is we can move our shoulders, we can lean into the music, we can close our eyes, we can lean our head back, we can move our head. I think the biggest thing that you can do to really help engage your audience is your face, is really moving your face to the music and expressing yourself with your face, with your eyes, with your eyebrows, even your mouth, and then letting your body follow what your face is doing. And so, for instance, if I was playing a fun fiddle tune, and maybe it's hard for me to execute, but if I am not smiling, if I am really intently focused on what I'm playing, if I have a very serious face, does that match the really fun, upbeat, fiddly, bluegrass kind of sound that I'm playing? Well, no. My body doesn't match the music that I'm playing. And so we want those two to match. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on, okay, let's smile. Let's smile as I'm playing this. And maybe I would actually pick certain parts of my song. Okay, when I get to this measure, I'm gonna smile. I'm gonna practice smiling. I'm gonna practice raising my eyebrows, and maybe even practice moving forward in that moment as I'm smiling, right? So that every time you get to that point of the song, you practice smiling and moving your body with the music in that specific part. Another easy way to really get your body involved is tapping your foot, especially with bluegrass music. That is something that you can easily do. It doesn't work in all styles of music, but it's very easy and it can help you kind of feel the music a little bit more. And even just moving your body to the beat. It doesn't have to be big, but even just like a kind of a head nod while you're tapping your foot, and kind of even swaying a little bit in certain styles. Again, you kind of have to look at, okay, what kind of song is this? Is it happy? Is it sad? What am I trying to portray to my audience through this song? With a bluegrass song, a lot of the time it might be happy, it might be fun, and so I want to reflect that with my body. Okay, number 2, this goes hand in hand with exactly what I just said, but smiling. It's so simple, so simple. Sometimes it feels awkward, but it makes such a big difference. It really, really, truly does, because as an audience member watching other people play, it just puts you at ease when they smile. It makes you feel comfortable. It makes you feel at ease. It makes you want to listen to what they have to play for you. And as people that are on stage, if you are that musician that is actually playing in front of other people, smiling can sometimes feel really awkward. It feels unnatural, but it doesn't look that way. Most of the time, if it feels awkward, it doesn't look awkward to the audience. And unless you're like really cheesy smiling like the whole entire time, which not many people do that. So even if it feels awkward, it's not, but just smiling a little bit. Even if a couple times throughout your song, just adding a smile makes a world of difference. Okay, this next one is super important. Okay, so when you are playing a song in front of an audience, you're gonna get nervous. Most of us do get nervous, at least a little bit. Even if you've been doing it for a while, there's still that little bit of nervousness. And sometimes, pretty much probably every professional musician has had something like this happen, where you forget what you're playing, you mess up. It's gonna happen. At some point, it's gonna happen. No matter how much you practice, it's just inevitable that at some point in your musical journey, career, you're gonna end up messing up. And it's important to know how to handle that when it happens. And the tendency for especially beginners, when maybe you're not super comfortable yet on your instrument, it's still very hard, you're still having to think really hard about it. But one of the biggest things you can do is to practice to keep playing on in your song and not stopping, not having that awkward silence where you're trying to figure out, oh, what comes next? I don't know. Because if you stop playing, if you let it show on your face that you mess up, then guess what? That signals to your whole entire audience that you've messed up. And that's even more awkward and even more scary when your audience knows that you messed up. So we want to try to avoid that. And how we can do this is, one, I think this is one of the biggest things, and you can do this in the practice room when you're practicing. If you mess up, don't show it. Don't show emotion. Don't show frustration. Don't let your face reveal that you've messed up. Because if you practice that way, then when you get on the stage, you might also do that, and we don't want to do that. So in the practice room, you want to keep your face smiling, keep it happy, keep it natural, even though inside you're freaking out because you've totally forgotten where you're supposed to go next, or you've totally bombed that really hard part of the song that you've worked so hard on. And then do your best to keep going, okay? Even if you can't think of what comes next, go to the last part that you remember and play that, or go to the next part that you can remember and play that. Or if you can't think, like play a chord or something, or strum, or I don't know, and if you mess up, just keep going. Keep going. Because 9 out of 10 times, your audience is not gonna know that you messed up. I know that you think that they will, but they don't, they won't. There's been so many times where I have really horribly messed up. I really thought that I completely messed up, that the whole audience knew that I had horribly messed up. And later I find out, because I was asking certain people, I was like, did you know that? I totally did not play that right. And they were like, what? I did not know that. So really, your audience is not as perceptive as you think that they are. They're not gonna notice if you mess up a little note, or even if you forget what comes next. The thing is, they don't know what comes next. They don't know your song. So don't give it away. Keep going, keep playing. Try to let there not be that awkward silence, and don't show it on your face. Okay, the last tip that I'm gonna give you guys today. Also, thank you for watching. If you have stuck this far with me, thank you guys so much. And also, feel free to drop a comment down below if you've made it this far. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what was your favorite tip, and if there's anything that you struggle with these, or even if you've thought about any of these things before. But the last thing that I want to say is adding dynamics to your playing. If you don't know what dynamics are, basically all that means is how loud you play, and then how soft you play, and everything in between. Because we don't want our song to just be one volume, one tone the whole way through, because that gets boring. It's not very musical. So we want to be very intentional with adding, okay, you're really working through your song. And I mean, maybe even putting down your instrument and sitting down with your music, or just sitting down with the song in your mind and thinking, okay, first off, what is the main point of this story? Of the story of the song that I want to tell. You know, is it sad? Is it happy? Is it melancholy? Is it bittersweet? I mean, you could go really, really deep with the kind of emotion that you're wanting to portray in a song, but honestly, I would just start with, okay, is it sad? Is it happy? That's normally really easy to tell. And then from there, figure out, okay, what is the progression of growth in this song? Does it start sad and end happy? Does it start happy and end sad? Does it start here and then it kind of grows into something more here, and that's how it ends? Or maybe it grows and then it comes back down at the end and you want to lay it down. Really, with every single song, you can really go in deep and figure out, okay, what am I trying to say with this song? What is the story? What is the growth? What is the emotion? What is the journey that this song is taking me through? And a lot of the time, I actually like to write out an actual storyline. Like if you're writing a book or a short story to your song, I think that is one of the most beneficial things you can do as a musician, because you figure out how you want to start dynamically. Do I want to start soft? Do I want to start loud? What kind of tone, what kind of emotion am I starting with? And then how is that growing? So you can even go measure by measure, line by line, page by page, depending on how long your song is, and figure out what's happening, how you want to grow, how you want to get soft, what kind of tone you want to have, all of that. And adding that in probably, I'd say, is one of maybe the most important thing when you are performing, because that's what's really going to grab the attention of your audience. That's what's really going to take them on a journey with you. And when you are sharing a song, it's not just about you playing the right notes. It's about you taking your audience on a journey with you. And so definitely take time to think about that as you are playing, and if you're preparing something to perform. Maybe it's Christmas time and you want to perform a song for your family, or you're playing at a Christmas party, or who knows what it could be, or even playing, recording a video. That is one of the most important steps, and something that is super easy to think about, because again, we spend the majority of our time in a practice room trying to learn the song, trying to get the notes, but that's not the most important thing when you're actually performing. The most important thing is having that story ready to tell your audience. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it was a little bit different than usual, but I'm glad that you are here. Don't forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe for content like this every single week. Put down in the comments any other kind of videos that you would like to see from me, or any topics that you would want me to talk about, and I will see you guys in my next video.